Everybody, and welcome to the first official episode of This Week in Real Estate, tWiRE, hosted by yours truly, the Bearded Men of Real Estate. So thank you guys so much for joining the show. We've been hinting at this change for a couple of weeks now. We're excited to finally launch it. The reason why we launched it is because I would go around to conferences and I would be talking to agents and people that weren't real estate agents, and they would be like, "Oh, you have a podcast? What is it?" I'd be like, "The Bearded Men of Real Estate Show." And they'll be like, "Well, what do you talk about?" And I thought by the title, most people would know. But
it seemed so obvious.
It seemed obvious, but apparently it wasn't as obvious as maybe it could be. And it's also not really great for analytics because there's not very many people that search for bearded men when they're looking for real estate information. So we changed the name in an effort to gain more listeners, gain more traction on all the YouTube's podcasts and all that stuff. So from now on, it will be tWiRE, or This Week in Real Estate, hosted by
but effective
Bearded Men of Real Estate.
Yeah.
So my name's Ray. I'm a real estate agent in Arkansas. This is Dan. Say hi, Dan.
Hi, Dan.
And he's a real estate agent in Los Angeles, California. And it's where everyone's moving from.
Yep.
If you're joining us live, we broadcast in 3 different locations. We're on Clubhouse, we're on Facebook, and we're on YouTube all at the same time. And you can join us live and comment, and then we can display your comment and talk about you or your comment, just like Melissa Marr did. She said, "Does this mean new shirts?" It does mean new shirts. So we'll have a little order form out for some new shirts coming out. We've changed the little podcast icon to a different logo. You're going to see kind of like our faces more vividly. So there will be a different shirt. We're not totally satisfied with the text of tWiRE. So we're going to try to get a new little, there it is. As Dan shows you, the real estate, This Week in Real Estate launch party.
So it'll be our happy smiling faces, but we got to work on the text. I'm going to work on an actual like tWiRE logo. So we're getting there, but we're announcing it today. We're excited.
The swag is coming, but the name has changed. G Jones says, "Hey Beards, missed you guys last week." Oh, thank you very much. Yeah. We were at the Tom Ferry conference last week, where I was. Dan stood me up on it, but I was at the Tom Ferry.
I was enticed, but
we were trying. We were sending Dan all the photos saying, "Hey, Dan."
Yeah. And I was ignoring all of them, but I couldn't after a while. I'm like, God, I'm in California and I have a lot of things going on. I can't. I'm sorry.
Well, you should come to Texas. Everyone else is, Dan. Then D Jones says,
from California. I'm the only one left. It's amazing. I don't even know how I have internet. I don't know who's here to run the internet service provider. I don't even know who's here.
Olivier. Let's see, co-buying in cottages. All right, so Olivier, he's in the room. Thanks for popping by. Hopefully he'll tell us some more information about the co-buying stuff. Sorry, I get distracted by a text. D Jones says, "You got a new do?" I think that's just an undone do done up.
This is just what it's like. So I had long hair for a while, and then I cut my hair, and I was doing every 2-week haircuts, but I just haven't in the last month. So this is the result, and I kind of dig it. So
yeah, I haven't had a haircut in years. Matt Lamar said, "Hey Beards, what's up, Matt?" Matt's also joining us in Clubhouse. Hopefully you hear his voice later. Melissa Lamar says, "Send me the samples." Oh, the t-shirt samples. Okay.
I don't know.
And then
he
says, "How about them
means.
Dogs?" I don't know. Dogs. He is a fan of dogs, I guess.
Maybe he bought must have gotten a new puppy or something.
Yeah, must have. I don't know what he's talking about. All right. Anyway, thanks so much, everybody, for joining the show. Please share the show. If you're on Facebook and whatnot, there is no more organic reach on Facebook. I don't know if you guys know this. If you're an advertiser on Facebook, you already know this. But if you're broadcasting live on a page on Facebook, it's as good as dead unless anyone shares it. So that's why we've moved a lot of people over to YouTube. That's why I moved a lot of people over to YouTube. We'd love for you to join us there, and also on Clubhouse. And let's see, is there anything else going on today?
Let's get right into the stories.
So Melissa Marr gave it away in our Be More chat earlier, but I do think it's time. I do think it's time that you all join me in a rousing rendition of Happy Birthday. Norm Ludwig, Dan's dad, says, "Happy birthday, son." It is Dan's birthday today, everybody, which is another reason. I mean, that's a great lunch party day.
Right?
So everybody now. Happy birthday to you.
Blah, blah,
Happy
blah.
birthday to you.
Blah, blah,
Happy
blah.
birthday, dear Daniel. Happy birthday to you. Here you
Thank
go.
you.
Cheers, my man.
Appreciate it. I got this is featherweight, and these are so my brokers, Drea and Chris, were in Philadelphia. They brought these beers back a while ago. And this is I know it's 10 a.m. by the way. I get that. I understand that. But it's my birthday and we're launching the new everything. So this is called Featherweight, and it's a citrus hazy pale ale. And then I have Teeling whiskey. I brought out the good stuff. So cheers, everyone. Yes, I'm 20. I turned 21 today, so I can drink. This is legal.
Okay. Cheers, Dan. I'm not telling you what's in my cup. It does say, it says, "Love you till the cows come home," Dan. There you go. It's gotta there.
There you go.
So, happy birthday, my man.
But I'll just whatever you're gonna see in the media today, you're gonna see a lot of news media about my birthday.
Yeah,
I'm 48.
48.
Yep, I'm a Zoomer.
Next year I'll be the big 40. It's the big one.
Yeah.
My brother will be the big 50.
Oh, is he 10 years older?
Yeah, he is.
Oh, and then so he's 2 years older than me, a year older than me.
Yeah.
He's 72. He was born.
Yeah.
Huh. Nice. Yeah. You guys watch what the media says about me. It's gonna be crazy, but you heard it here first.
TMZ.
48. Yep.
Taking Dan on.
The second I leave the studio, they're going to be right there flashing. And so 48, they're going to, a lot of people are going to say I'm turning 61 this year. No, 48.
No. Speaking of headlines, Dan, we've got a lot to talk about today. We're going to talk about weekly mortgage demand stalling. We're going to talk about, there's a report out, and I asked Logan Matashami, our resident economist, which he probably wouldn't associate himself with the show, but we do.
We do. It's one-sided, but we do.
Yeah, he writes articles for Housing Wire. Good guy, knows what he's talking about. But there's an article that says today's tight housing market is already overbuilt. One analyst says. So I guess that there's just one analyst that says it. We have to take a look at that. So we're going to read about what they say, and then I'll kind of give you what Logan said. He also has some good opinions over there on Twitter, and we'll be doing a Housing Wire article about it coming out soon. We're talking about forbearance declines, housing affordability. What's that doing? Improving or not? Jumbo mortgages, co-buying. That's a thing that it's kind of been around a little while. We've talked about it briefly, but there is more data on it that it's happening more than ever. There's a real estate agent in hot water over a costly missing apostrophe.
And that it's crazy. So just leave it there because we want people to stay tuned. But it's crazy.
Yeah, and I want opinions on if you guys actually think it's an apostrophe or if that was a great move from the attorney. Right. So we'll see. And there's 25% of U.S. infrastructure is at risk of flooding.
And then Rex, that's it.
I'm going to say the risk of flooding, though, is not based on historical data. It's based on future data. And then Rex, we're talking about Rex. All right. If you guys hate this, the beginnings of our shows, you can always go down to the bottom if you're watching this on a replay. And in the YouTube comment, there's a description there. And we have timestamped all of these great articles that I just went over and what we're going to cover. So you just click that timestamp and you zoom right to it. Now, if you're watching live, you can't obviously zoom to the future. But if you are watching live, we want you to participate because that's part of the benefit of being involved with the live show is that we could display your comments just like Richard Gins. And then we can talk about your comments. So Richard says, "Good afternoon, beard gents. Boynton Beach, Florida here."
Boynton Beach, Florida. Now, I do have to ask, for those of you that watch us live on YouTube, if you hate this banter, why do you torture yourself every week? Why?
Why? Just watch the replay.
Just wait for the replay.
The chops. We also chop each story up. I think part of it is people like to harass us live, which that's fine.
I know people talking about dogs and stuff. It's so weird.
D. Jones says, Matt Lamar says more banter. He's a big
more
fan
banter.
We're just going to release a pre-show show called Banter.
Yeah. It'll just be us talking about the nonsense.
It'll be us talking, like getting the computer set up and getting the camera right and all that. It'll be the pre-show banter.
And can I say, thank you to everyone. There's a lot of all caps comments today for my birthday. I appreciate that. More all caps comments. I think it increases the algorithm. Let's go. Let's do it.
Obviously, it's all for your birthday.
Right.
It's like everything that happens. Oh, for my birthday today, CNBC has this wonderful article.
Yeah, that's how I'm doing everything. So I have a listing appointment after the show. So for my birthday today, it'd be great if you sign the contract.
You got to embed the command, right?
Yeah.
For my birthday, I know you're going to list with me.
Right. You have to embed it. You have to embed all the comment.
Embed all the comments.
Yeah. So for you lay people, just ignore what we said because you can't know what we just said.
Yeah. You don't know what
You're
you
welcome.
don't know what we just said.
Yeah. You will never know.
Embed those commands. They're hidden. They're hidden buying signals, selling signals. All right. Single-handedly just dismantled scripts. All right. You ready to get into the headlines?
Wait, that's Bokros. Is that the
what?
Is Rhino? That the better half of the other Bokros?
Whoa, really?
Wow.
Is that really? Is she related?
Or is it just
happy birthday? Haha, work the algorithm.
You. Or is it just a really I'm getting a call from Rocket Mortgage. I should answer this live.
Maggie should join us more often. Leave Ryan at home. I bet that was Ryan signed into Maggie's account. All right, you ready to get in the headlines?
No, but yeah, let's go.
All right, let's go.
I'm going to be schmammered at the end of this show, by the way.
I hope someone is listening with spatial audio on Clubhouse to tell me how that sounds. Oh, see, look, Ryan Bokros says,
there you go.
Was borrowing someone's computer. Oh, no, more Maggie, less Ryan.
Yeah, let's go. And by the way, more Elizabeth, less Mike Rodell.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, wait, no, that's wrong. More Mike, less Elizabeth.
Yeah, there you go. Julie Moon says dogs are here. Sorry, I'm late. Another dog person. Interesting.
Yeah, she must have just adopted a new one or something.
All right, so let's talk about I got to do the whole production thing too. I got to share let me share my tab. You guys want to see my tab for Dan's birthday? All right. Yeah. Weekly mortgage demand stalls as rates jump to the highest level since June. So this sounds like a bad article, but I also want to read HousingWire's take on this.
Yeah.
So HousingWire's headline, using the same data, says home buyers brush off higher mortgage rates.
Yep.
What?
Because HousingWire, for the most part, isn't looking for clicks.
They're a little more balanced.
Yeah.
So CNBC says mortgage rates continued their trudge higher last week, leaving most homeowners with little to no incentive to refinance. Home buyers already battling the pricey market lost more purchasing power due to those higher rate increases.
Oh my God! Only if we had a story that's coming up in two more stories that contradict this.
So mortgage application volume was essentially flat as compared with the previous week, according to the Mortgage Bankers Association. So wait a minute, Dan. We had an increase in the rate, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So the rate went up.
Yeah.
So you would think that the number of mortgage applications would go way down, given that the rate has gone up, right? If you have a negative story on this, it has to be, but no, what happened? It's flat. So it's basically the same, even though the rate is higher.
Right.
Applications to refinance a home fell 1% for the week and were 16% lower than same
they
week
tanked too. They tanked.
Yes, tanked. Let's see, what was it compared to last year? Do they have the mortgage application volume compared to last year?
No, but they had the refinance, which was a significant amount less than a year ago. But that's to be expected when mortgage rates are that much different. And also, we got to remember, so many people have refinanced in the last year plus.
Oh wait, I found it. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Mortgage applications to purchase a home increased 2% for the week. But we're 10% lower compared with the same week a year ago. The rise was driven by a gain in conventional purchase applications, which kept the average loan size elevated, according to Kahn. That's Joel Kahn. He's a Mortgage Bankers Association economist. Let me tell you this quote from him. He said, government refinance applications fell over 3% last week, driven by a decline in the FHA refinances. We continue to expect weakening refinance activity as rates move higher and borrowers see less rate incentive.
Which we've said continually on the show for the last 4 years. Although this is our first show, in case you guys missed the beginning of the show, we're now This Week in Real Estate. But yeah, we've been saying that for a long time. Brandon, who's Brandon?
What? What's that? Oh, the Salt Laker said, "Let's go, Brandon."
Wait, is he supporting Brandon, or is it "Let's go, comma Brandon"?
Oh, we'll see about
these
comments.
Do not forget commas in your social media posts, friends, please.
All right, so I just want to mention this from Housing Wire. Home buyers brush off higher mortgage rates. Mortgage application activity was largely flat. Again, they said flat too. An increase in home purchase applications offset a slight decline in refinance, said Joel Kahn, MBA's Vice President of Economic Industry Forecasting. The increase in purchase applications was welcome news, but was primarily driven by a 2% gain in conventional purchase applications. Okay,
such a different take.
Same data, different take. Same quote, even same part of a quote.
Yeah, from the same guy. Yeah.
Which is why we do the show. Anyway, you got anything to add about these purchase applications? Are you seeing an increase or decrease in the number of clients or?
Nope, I'm getting the same amount of buyers, but I had that same one. The mortgage applications purchased a home to increase 2% for the week. But the title is Weekly Mortgage Demand Stalls. Everything was flat, and applications to purchase a home increased, but everything stalled, right? Okay.
Yeah. So we're going to get into an opinion piece pretty early, and then we're going to kind of go through a variety of articles that have to do with that. By the way, I'm trying to keep an eye on Clubhouse, but if you guys want to feel free to send me a direct message on Clubhouse or flash your mic. I'd be happy to come to you for an opinion or excerpt. What?
So I watch Clubhouse and I see people do stuff and I see people that want to speak and stuff, but I'm 48, so I don't know how any of this works, and I just ignore it.
Old guy, my old buddy.
Here, hold on. Wait, ready for it, Ray? I have these glasses, and now I have these glasses.
Oh, you're a 2 glasses guy. You're one of those. Oh, let me take off my readers and put on my.
These are my readers. These are my normal. There we go. Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. There's a meme that has somebody like kind of reading like this, is really out far from their face.
Yeah.
And a girl put on TikTok her handing her mom that meme, and her mom does the same.
Like, she does I've seen that. Yeah.
Exactly yeah. To read the meme.
It's so perfect. Yeah.
All right.
Mom be like, yeah, so perfect.
Oh, there you go. Invite to speak. All right, I got you, Olivier. All right, so speaking of seeing things differently using the same data. Ooh, that was pretty good, Ray. Thanks, Dan. Today's tight housing market is already overbuilt, one analyst says. Anyone out house hunting right now knows that the pickings are slim, the competition is fierce, and the prices are high, but one analyst says there's already too many houses being built. Supply of the homes for sale end of August totaled 1.29 million units, down 1.5% from July and 13.4% from August of 2020, according to the National Association of Realtors. Dennis McGill, he's the director of research for Zelman and Associates, however, said that the current supply of homes for sale is not indicative of the overall need to build more houses. Demand is strong right now, he said, because of unusual emotional surge driven by the pandemic. Demographics, which are a better measure of housing demand historically, do not support more construction. And that's one of the points that Logan's took with him. Logan's.
Multiple Logans.
That's one of the points that Logan's took. I said it, I don't know, that Logan took is saying that the mistake.
That's a weird speech impediment. You can't say Logan.
Just adding S to Logan's. Logan said that he used the word emotional and that was incorrect, that the demographics actually do support more housing. He also said that there's words in here that are more for Wall Street than Main Street, that the wording being used is for investors to start hedging compared to maybe the home price gain slow type of thing is the same, like home construction. The speed or pace at which home construction is operating now should start to slow. And so as that happens, you have investors that want to start moving money around from outside of builders to other things. So that's kind of Logan's point on it. But it says, quote, there's a downward trajectory of population growth, household formation as well, and that's
Right,
really going to undermine the need for what's built.
but we're still at over 7 billion people, though. Like a downward trend of 7 billion is not that big of a number.
Well, on the other side of that, you have the development community that's actually very optimistic about being a housing shortage and actually very optimistic about how much they needs to be built. And they're actually pressing the accelerator harder than we think they probably should be.
Or can I agree with Richard Gines? Richard, can you let us know how we say your last name? Gines? Gines? I'm going to say Gines. I'm going to commit to Gines.
I think it's Gins because it's a short I, because there's no vowel right after it.
Gins would work too, but I'm going to agree with him. So I would argue that we're just catching up, and it's not overbuilt. We're catching up from the last 7 or 8 years.
Yeah, he says that the housing starts have not kept up with demand for decades. There is a real housing shortage in most large cities and suburbs,
except for here in the LA surrounding areas, because everyone's left.
That's right. Everybody's leaving California.
It's literally a ghost town. It's amazing.
Home builders, however, seem to disagree. Housing starts are still not where they were over a decade ago, but they are slowly crawling back. Home builder sentiment is high. The stocks of the nation's public home builders have also been on a tear, though that's largely due to pandemic demand. So you guys can read more about this. It talks about a housing soft patch. He said we need 800,000 to 900,000 single family homes for a household formation growth and another 200,000 to 300,000 per year, replacing housing in second homes. He pointed out that in 2018, there was more. Well, let me get to the. All right, here it is. Here's his quote. The challenge now is that we have a supply side limitations, including the lack of building materials and the growth and shortage of skilled workers, plus higher home prices relative to incomes. So it's the affordability issue.
Right.
You have home builders who bring supply, and you now have single family rental companies who are bringing a lot of supply. Build for rent, and you have multifamily developers bringing supply. So all three of these pieces have seen a very big step up in optimism on the development side, and it's going to take some time for that to come to market, but it's going to be coming pretty aggressively.
Right. I had that quote as well. That's the one quote I pulled from the article as well, because all of those things are good. They need to come to the market aggressively so we can, I'm going to say Mike today. Mike Rodell says, we need that lower third. But what they mentioned in that quote, they don't just mention the lower third. They mentioned build for rent and multifamily as well. And they're all coming to market. Those are all good things. They're all positive things, in my opinion. And also the article mentions that Ivy, let's see. What is her? Ivy Zellman is this guy's partner, and she made a big prediction before the crash, 12, 13 years ago. So it seems like this dude is looking for something. Be like, well, Ivy made a prediction. I'm going to make a prediction too.
Yeah, I would have to say Ivy. I don't know if it was Ivy specifically, but Logan did say that there were some predictions that they made in the past that were completely wrong. Specifically,
they did not come to fruition. A little bit.
Yeah. And he said
Orman.
And that's where the guy lost the credibility for me, honestly, because as he was talking about it, he was like, the same thing happened in 2005, and we saw how that turned out. It's like, this is not the same. No. This is nowhere near the same. It's not the same environment. So he lost a bit of credibility with me, but California, somebody obviously wanting to move to Arkansas.
From California. Sorry, from California. That was me calling you. I have a referral for you. It's me.
So I'm leaving. I can't wait to see what Logan says about it. I told him in the little story that I tagged him in, I was like, look, you have the forbearance crash bros, you have the housing bubble boys, and what are you going to call these guys? And so I know it's a working title, but I suggested the oversupply crash guys. That's what I came up with. But
the oversupply overseers,
oversupply guy. I don't know.
Yeah, the oversupply chain.
All right. So one of the things that we've been looking at a lot for the health of the market are the forbearance numbers. I just heard somebody. Where'd that come from?
I didn't hear.
I heard a bleep. It was a bleep on my computer. Okay.
It's so funny when we don't have an actual producer.
I know. Forbearance declines at the fastest pace in a year. Servicers' forbearance portfolio volume declined at the fastest rate in a year as mortgage holders exit COVID-19. Oh man, I said it. Now we're going to get tamped down.
We're gonna get
Pandy. The pandy. According to the
pandy.
Mortgage Bankers Association, exits are expected to pick up in the pace in a few weeks due to the economic improvement. Total number of loans in forbearance decreased by 27 basis points to 2.62% as of October 3rd. In the previous week, the rate dropped 7 basis points to 2.89%. So basically, that's the news. Forbearance are continuing to decline. Did you pick anything else out of that one?
No, just that the MBA's estimate, per their estimate, 1.3 million homeowners are still in active forbearance plans, which is way lower than what do we say, a year and a half ago ish? Yeah. So that's not a bad thing.
Let's talk a little bit about housing availability, because that's the thing we've been talking about as a earmark on the health of the economy, specifically the health of the housing.
But wait.
Yep. Okay.
Hold on. I want to go back. The first two articles, weekly mortgage demand stalls.
Yeah, it's terrible news.
And then today's tight housing market is already overbuilt.
Right. We're headed to a crash.
But this article is titled Housing Affordability Approves for the second straight month. What? I don't understand.
Housing affordability is improving. How can this be in a crashing economy? For the second month in a row, the National Housing Affordability approved in August, according to the latest from the National Association of Realtors Housing Affordability Index. The improvement came as monthly mortgage payments fell by 1.1%, while the median family income fell by 0.7%. So they both fell, but the mortgage payment fell less, or fell more.
Fell more.
The 30-year fixed rate mortgage was 2.89% compared with 3% a year prior. Median existing home sales prices rose 15.6% in that same period. To calculate affordability index, a 20% down payment on a 25% ratio of principal and interest payment to income is assumed. I'm not going to get, all right, I'm going to skip those details. Just go to HousingWire if you want the details on how that stuff's calculated. It's really, I mean, that's not great audio. All right, so the most affordable region was in the Midwest at an index value of 196, followed by the South with an index of 160, and the Northeast at 149. The least affordable region was the West. Housing value was 114.9.
That's why everyone's leaving.
Mm-hmm. That and the politics. All right, so that's the housing affordability is continuing to improve. Let me get to a couple more articles, and then I want to come to you guys for comments. Specifically, I want to get to two more articles. Then I want to hear what's going on in your neck of the woods. What do you see? Because we haven't really checked in with listeners lately on exactly what's happening in their marketplace. So I want to come to let's see, Olivier, Andy, Matt. I want you guys to kind of fill me in.
Well, can I add something before we get to that real quick?
Cindy from Salt Lake. We have Andy from Silicon Valley. Jen, you're here. So any of you guys can pop up, Steven, and we'll add you to the discussion whenever we talk about markets. What were you saying, Dan?
Just labor stats wise, because as far as affordability and forbearance goes, I looked up some labor stats. Super fun search and super fun to talk about live on YouTube. But total non-farm payroll employment rose by 194,000 in September, and the unemployment rate fell 0.4% to 4.8 total percent. So we're now towards the, what is it, 4 to 6%, right?
Yeah, the government says that 4 to 6% is considered full employment.
Yeah, so we're edging towards the lower end of that 4 to 6%, and
we're almost at Trump levels.
Who's that?
Trump. He president for a little bit.
Who?
Yeah, he leader of the free world for just a little bit.
Was he the orange guy?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I remember
big scary orange guy. Yeah,
he's fun. That's a funny guy right there. Notable job gains occurred in leisure and hospitality, in professional and business services, in retail trade, and in transportation and warehousing. Employment in public education declined over the month. So that's interesting to me. That's a separate conversation, but it is because remember during the Rona, which I don't even know if we're still during the Rona or not, but
I guess we
leisure,
are. Are we in there? I'll check the numbers. Wait, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, but leisure and hospitality, those jobs were like that's human interaction. We can't do that. We got to stop those jobs. So to know they're coming back is a really good thing.
It looks like we're down to pre-election levels.
On what?
on the Rona. We're down to September 2020 levels.
So are you trying to say different president, different numbers?
No, I'm just trying to say there was a nice spike about election time, and then it came back down, and then it spiked again due to the variant,
the Delta variant. Right.
Yeah, I'm just saying that it's back down to September 2020 levels. That's all I'm saying.
I have a new show I'm starting, by the way. It's called Just Saying.
With
Ray and Dan. We're not saying anything. We're just saying. That's it.
Speaking of jumbo, let's talk about jumbo mortgages. They surge as home prices rise. Loan originations for jumbo residential mortgages are set to hit a level that has not been seen since the run-up to the 2008 financial crisis. Bank of America researchers.
So different, though. So different.
Skyrocketing home prices are forcing home buyers to borrow more to afford the rising cost. Mortgage loans that exceed conforming loan limits by Freddie Mac, and Fannie Mae are estimated to reach 550 billion units this year. That's a lot. 550 billion dollars this year. I was fixing to say there's no way it's 550 billion units. Sorry about that. More borrowers are needing financing above the conforming loan limit, which is currently $548,000 on single-family residences in a majority of the U.S. It is near $820,000 on single-family residences in high-cost areas like New York and San Francisco.
Yeah.
So anytime you go above those limits, you're looking at a jumbo loan, which is kind of surprising given all the cash that's in the market and equity that people are pulling out of their houses. But
wait. There's not enough sellers selling right now and taking advantage of it because we don't have enough incentives for those sellers. We got incentives on top of incentives. That's tough to say for buyers, but we haven't done one story, and I'm looking for these stories.
Yeah.
On, hey, the Biden administration, the Trump administration, whatever. I'm just trying to be bipartisan here. Comes up with a new plan for sellers. There's never that storyline. Never.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, one of the things that we've been talking a lot about are the different incentives for buyers that are available. And as if that wasn't enough, there's now a new trend in the market, which it's not really a new trend. We've been talking about it. And after this is when I want to come to you guys to get your opinion on it and your thoughts, especially want to know if you see this happening in your market. But co-buying is a thing. It's skyrocketed in the last 7 years. It says millennials are pulling finances with roommates, friends, and significant others to buy a home together. So basically, people are buying a home with their friends. The number of home...
Or they're not getting married and they're just significant others.
I guess that could be, yeah.
It's not really...
The number of home and condo sales by co-buyers is increasing. The number of co-buyers with different last names surged by a whopping 771% between 2014 and 2021, according to research from Atom Data Solutions. The trend has especially taken off during the pandy. From April to June 2020, 11% of buyers purchased as an unmarried couple and 3% as other, like roommates, or according to data from the National Association of Realtors. That's up 9% and 2% respectively.
I just always check other on everything. Just whatever I'm applying for is other.
Yeah. During the pandy, people have been renting and they've wanted more space. And so they looked at perhaps their roommate and decided, let's go buy a home together, said Jessica Luntz, Vice President of Demographics and Behavioral Insights for NAR. So that's interesting. It's an interesting way to make it more affordable. I'm curious to know how that's going to shake out down the road. You know, whenever you start to have a fight with your roommate, who's actually a co-owner of the property.
Yeah. You can't kick out the person who's subletting your apartment, but if they're a co-owner, that gets more difficult.
What if they're like, how does that work if your your roommate's not paying their half of the mortgage? Do you foreclose on that half of interest?
Or do you have to cover it?
Or I'm sure you have to cover it, but then what happens? You're covering it, right? What's the legal ramification of that? Do you
Yeah. What if they're like, I don't care if my credit tanks. I just don't care. I'm out, but I'm going to still live here until you can kick me out, which will never happen.
How would you do that?
You can't kick out a co-borrower.
Huh. So anyway, that skyrocketed. Before we get into some of our last articles, I want to bring up our Clubhouse. Olivier, this is one of the things that he sent me a back channel message on, saying that is happening with cottages. So Olivier, tell us who you are, where you work, and tell me about your experience with co-buying. What's happening?
So hi, I'm Olivier. I'm in Canada, in Montreal up north. And yeah, what we see people buying secondary houses, like two friends or two couples. And what they'll do is they'll split it. I'll go weekend A, you'll go weekend B, and they split the expenses. But you need to have a very good contract when you do something like that.
Exactly.
But I've seen maybe 4 or 5 of my friends do that, either with brother, sister, or friends. And I mean, they're pretty happy, but they're not doing it for their main house. They're doing it for their secondary homes. In main houses, what we see is maybe friends buying a duplex and each occupying an apartment. So you're not living together, but you're owning together. It makes it more affordable because of the money you have to put down. You have 2 people qualifying for the loan, and you have the same amount of money down to put. So that makes it more affordable. So that's what I'm really seeing in the market from these younger people that don't necessarily have as much money to buy either their first property with a duplex, or people that want to buy a second house, but they're like, I can't go every weekend. Let's split the cost so it's less expensive, but you still get your cottage 26 weeks out of the year.
So what happens, and that's really interesting, by the way. But what happens when one of the roommates, or like for the duplex example, right? So 2 people went and bought a duplex together,
but they're not roommates though.
They're not roommates.
They're co-owners, right?
They're co-owners, but you have one side that doesn't make their portion of the payment. What happens in those situations, Olivier? Do you know?
Well, in our legislation here, both people are responsible, but there's an article in the law that you can't force 2 people to be owners if one of them doesn't want to. So, but you have to go to court to get that settled. I mean, it's going to take a while. It's going to be expensive. I've never had someone that I know have that situation happen. But I've actually had a file where there were 2 people that were divorcing that didn't want to sell. So they were basically like friends living together. They had to go through court. It took them 3 years to be able to sell because owner A forced owner B to sell. But that's, I mean, not preposterous, but it's really, really long, complicated. So you really have to have a good trust in the people you're buying with, because it can be a hell of a ride if you're stuck in that.
Yeah, Lisa Perk, Julie Moon says it's like any business. You need a good legal contract. So I think she echoes what you're saying, Olivier. But Lisa Perk says, remember all the types and ways you could take title of a property. That covers co-buying. It could complicate things for sure, but joint tenancy has always existed. You remember all that from real estate school? The tenants in common and the joint tenancy and owning a portion.
And then none of my clients have ever taken title that way.
I know, but which one was the one in which you own a portion of the property, but you get to use all of the property? You have an ownership interest, but the ownership use is, I can't remember.
You take title in timeshare. I think it's.
No. We got to go back to the old books, right, and get that stuff out.
Yeah, I wonder last time I studied was just 2 years ago when I renewed my license.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. I wonder if this kind of stuff happens for house hacking. House hacking is a big phenomenon that's going on in the market now, where you have someone that purchases the property and then hacks up that same property and then rents it out. I could see like an investment group or something like that buying together. Yeah. That's always existed.
Well, and a triplex or quadplex would be really smart if 2 people live, or 2 different groups or entities live separately, but then they rent out 1 or 2 more properties, because then it's joint use, but then also you're potentially making some profit off of it. So it's kind of cool. And then you could use that to then go buy your own, and then that becomes a investment property just down the road.
It's kind of like the Picasso model, really. Co-buying.
Except for they're ruining neighborhoods.
Quote unquote.
What? Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Man.
Quote unquote.
I got to actually meet some of the Picasso people at the Tom Ferry conference, so they're super nice. But I want to get some details on that. Maybe we can have them
Of
on the
course,
show.
they're nice. They know they're ruining neighborhoods.
I asked her about that article, and she went, "Oh my goodness!" I'm like, "Well, we cover the news as it happens. We don't have an opinion about it."
No.
I also got to meet the Tomo folks. You remember Greg Schwartz and his relationship with Zillow?
Yeah.
I have to tell you about those conversations. Anyway,
Not
I
there.
also want to know kind of what's going on. If you are in Clubhouse and you want to raise your hand and talk about it, I'd love to know what's happening in your market. What do you see? Is the affordability thing happening? Richard asked a question. He said, how can affordability improve as the cost of financing goes steadily up? So, yes, but the cost of financing may have gone up a little bit, but it balances out with the other economic factors from people's income. And what was the other thing that went down? Was it the home prices went down by 1.1% or something? No, it wasn't home prices. What was it? Let me go back to that article. Something went down 1.1%, and then people's incomes went down only 0.7%.
Right. So it's gaining in favor of income.
Yeah. Was it the debt? Oh, it was the monthly payment. That's what it was. Because rates are so low, I guess all the people refinancing and everything, your monthly payments are lower.
Yeah.
So even though the rates are going up as relative to what people were paying, it's still cheaper. Mike Elizabeth Rodell said, but our employment level is going to take a hit in November when Southwest pilots leave are up. Yeah, that's a good question with all the mandates and everything
in
like
one
that
sector,
happening.
maybe, yeah.
I don't think it'll have a full impact. I know I'm booking flights not on that airline right now.
Wait, can I argue though? If they leave there, they're going to go into some other portion of the job sector, right?
You would think,
unless
that job sector also requires a vaccine, apparently. Oh man, I said the V word. This is getting terrible.
That's twice today, man. You got to be careful.
I'm watching the Facebook numbers drop because Zuckerberg does not want us to talk about these things.
Yeah, he likes Z's, not V's.
Mandates at companies across the board. Someone says, I don't even want to display the comment because I'm worried Zuckerberg's going to tamp us down.
He's watching right now.
Julie Moon says things are only affordable if income increases faster than home prices. Yeah, or does it decrease? Yeah. Bad Ray. I know. Okay, so I don't see Andy. You want to? Matt, okay, Matt wants to talk. Tell me what's happening in your market, Matt. What's affordability doing? Is it crazy or slowing down a little bit? What's going on, man?
Matt Malarsh, everyone.
Well, actually, I had a question about the article there that you were just reading. So, do they differentiate between like co-signing and this co?
That's a good question, Matt.
The article does here. Let me go try to find it again. It does say a difference between co-signing and co-buying. Yes.
During the pandemic, people have been renting. Oh, I've already read that. It doesn't really go into a lot of detail. Adam Data Solutions is the one that provided it.
There you go. The very end.
Those with student debt are still finding ways to buy. For example, they may apply for a mortgage with a cosigner, such as a family member or friend, to help them improve their credit status.
Yeah.
I want to say that's broken out because they're talking about people taking it as an unmarried couple or as other.
Totally separate number, I believe, is what they're saying. Totally separate.
Yeah. So it looks like it's a different number altogether. But that is a way a lot of people are finding affordability is by getting a co-borrower, cosigner. That's a good point, Matt. Even though you are from Georgia.
Except for the dogs thing.
Go dogs, yes. Well, no, the reason I ask is because I believe there's two different types of financing that could take place there. And if there's anyone in the room that's on the lending side, I'd be curious to hear if there's any difference in underwriting or if that's a totally different product in general. But it's very interesting to hear Olivier's experience with that. I think we'll probably see a lot more of that coming year, I assume.
Yeah, I agree. I could definitely see this happening more and more, especially like, we've had thoughts about owning, buying a beach house, but we also want a house in the mountains, right? So if we found someone else that was like, we also want a beach house and a house in the mountains, I could see us buying that together.
Yeah, especially if it was like, either every other weekend or just, take out the 52 weeks and break down. Here's when we get them. I think you could really work out a great mutual.
Just make it an Airbnb, except for the times that your family and their family wants it, right? And so y'all split the cost of management, split the cost of, and then it's honestly the Picasa model, which is a genius model, but it's the same type of thing, right? Where you're just like, well, let's own this together, and then
genius model, except for they're ruining neighborhoods. But genius
a little exaggerated on it was that one particular neighborhood.
Actually, not even neighborhood, just one particular guy that was mad.
There was one guy. Yeah. Julie Moon said, "Don't get me started." Oh no. Okay, I won't. All right, let's talk about one more thing. Do I have anyone else that wants to chime in about I don't see any hands up. Okay.
I want to know. I want to take a poll. If you're watching us on, I'm not even going to say the F word. I'm just calling it the F word for now. But if you're watching us on YouTube or listening on Clubhouse, have you ever posted something and realized you made a grammatical error? And has that error ever potentially cost you up to $250,000?
Yeah, this is a big one. So it happened in Australia. Guys, you just got to be careful of what you post. That's really, this happened in real estate. This could have happened in any industry. But you guys, you got to be careful of what you post. Real estate agent in hot water over costly missing apostrophe. So this guy is faced with hundreds of thousands of dollars in court cost after he neglected to place a critical apostrophe in a Facebook post bashing his former workplace. So here's what he said. I'll get right to it. He said, "Oh, Stuart Gann, selling multi-million money sign homes in Pearl Beach, but can't pay his employees superannuation. Shame on you, Stuart. 2 years and still waiting." So the superannuation is a regular payment made into a fund towards a pension, basically.
And we need to mention, by the way, this is in Australia.
Yeah, this is in Australia. This is not an American story. But basically, let me bring back up the article and I'll show you where this apostrophe, where he says the apostrophe should have been. It is it's right here.
Employees.
Right? It goes from employees plural to his employees singular.
Yeah.
Possessive, right? Because it is the employees superannuation.
And then that next paragraph right there says that, so is this the brilliant move by the attorney, or?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Is like, did his attorney come up with a brilliant move to say, "Oh no, it was just an apostrophe," or did he actually mean for this to happen? Right. It says that Gann's company followed. The difference in this apostrophe means that one followed a systematic pattern of conduct versus just that individual's own experience.
Right. An individual implies that was just with me. He didn't do it with everybody. But if I don't include the apostrophe, he's doing with this everybody, and it's egregious. He's doing this on purpose.
The judge said to fail to pay one employee's superannuation entitlement might be seen as unfortunate. To fail to pay some or all of them looks deliberate. And so this apostrophe could cost the guy $160,000 to $250,000.
And by the way, the article also mentions that this is in Australia. We're protected here in the Americas. Oh no, United States, because we have free speech. So just post whatever you want, guys. No one's going to try to cancel you.
You may have forgotten.
No, you can post whatever you want. No, just
not
anything.
If you're a member. Not if you're a member of the National Association of Realtors. You may have forgotten something that passed recently. Yeah, you cannot do that. All right, so let's go to the floods. Let's go to the flood talk.
By the way, do not forget the Oxford comma. Very, very important.
Yeah, it's a great song
too.
All right, let's talk about floods. 25% of infrastructure at risk of floods. The risk of floods across the U.S. is growing. About 25% of critical infrastructure, or about 36,000 facilities in the country, are at risk of becoming inoperable due to flood risk, according to a new report from First Street Foundation, the creators of the Flood Factor, a nationwide risk tool. 23% of road segments, or nearly 2 miles of road, are at risk of becoming impassable. Further, 20% of commercial properties, about 919,000, and 14% of residential properties, 12.4 million, are also at risk. All right, this is a quote from this company. Our work aims to determine the amount of flooding that would render infrastructure either inoperable or inaccessible. By applying research on depth thresholds and comparing them to flood data and probability metrics, we could determine roughly the extent of flooding that would cause a road to be impassable to cars or hospitals to be shut down. The report predicts that over the next 3 decades, 30 years, climate change will likely lead to a higher risk for an additional 1.2 million residential properties, 660,000 commercial properties, and 63,000 miles of road. So there you are. We talked about this in the past. That's why I wanted to bring it up again. We said, will the flood predictions based on climate change increase the premium? And I think that's probably what we're going to read next, is that these flood predictions have increased the premiums across the board. A increased premium also will hit affordability. So one of the things that people look at is if somebody can afford the home, is if they can also afford the insurance and taxes. And they take that into account with the monthly number. So if the insurance companies now increase the flood premium based on the future predictions due to climate change from this foundation, then we could say that affordability could get even worse in the future. Home prices might increase. But you could also say, if you're an investor and there's like a whole neighborhood that gets super bad flood marks, you could buy up that whole neighborhood. If you don't believe,
if you're an investor like Picasa.
Yeah. Or if you don't believe it will be flooded, like there. So, everybody can put their money where their mouth is in this situation.
Well, that's where I have the issue. I don't mind future numbers because it helps us hey, this could happen. So let's make sure we prepare for that. But where the issue comes in is we're not only just making sure we're prepared for that. We're now your flood insurance is $1,000 a month because future data that may or may not happen
in some area in Montana.
In some area in Montana. And it does, the article does mention all the high risk flood zones. And those are also historically high risk flood areas. So there's no surprise there. But when all of a sudden somewhere in Colorado, where they're a mile above everyone else, all of a sudden we're going to flood. Well, no, we're in the mountains. We don't have to worry about flooding, maybe an avalanche, but there's no avalanche numbers that are being talked about. So that's the issue is when then it goes, okay, some insurance company goes, okay, cool. Future flood data shows, well, then I'm going to raise my premium now for something that may or may not happen. And we're kind of strapped to the fact that we have to pay for this. It's very, very unfortunate in our country.
Well, and I hope one of the things that comes of this is legislation that allows people to choose a private flood insurance company and things like that, instead of being forced to use some government sponsored companies, I guess you could say.
Yeah, it seems like they're in the same bed together, which is weird.
Yeah, it's weird. They call it bipartisan, but it's spelled B-U-Y. All right. That's good. I made that up. All right. So let's talk about, speaking of shade.
This is amazing, by the way.
This is interesting. The first article says Rex Homes has a second round of layoffs, closes New York and Chicago markets, plans to join MLS. What? Rex Homes yesterday. So this is a week old article. I'm going to get to a new one too. Rex Homes yesterday initiated a second round. Matt Farrell knows that I'm broadcasting right now. Rex Homes yesterday initiated a second round of layoffs in the past 2 months and has now shut down operations in Chicago and all of New York as part of the company restructuring. Layoffs are a common part of a startup life. And Rex co-founder, president, and COO Lindley Sides assured remaining employees in a company-wide call that they are, quote, done with downsizing efforts.
For now, they left out the for now part.
Let me fast forward to this week. Both of these are on American Genius for real estate, and these are op-ed pieces. So the reason why we wanted to mention is because a notable lawsuit when REX is suing NAR and Zillow. And so we've been covering that week after week. So in this one, it says REX Homes not disrupting anything except investor balance sheets. This one came out October 11th, 2 or 3 days after the layoffs were announced. It is an opinion piece. It says, in my humble opinion, Jack Ryan, CEO, co-founder of Rex Homes, is the most prolific propagandist in the real estate sector's history. Let's just go to kind of the brass tacks here. Let me,
because he kind of goes off on him and Rex and the model and everything, but he does ask 13 legitimate questions.
Yeah, one is, please provide an update on the company's leadership status. A review from the alleged employee posted via Glassdoor. Now this is Glassdoor stuff, so it couldn't be true, or it could be. It says everybody from marketing fled, half of engineering left already. CTO, CFO, CDO, head of HR all left within 2 months. The company could not even afford to pay severance. Oh, severance. Oh,
yeah.
man, goodness. I'm so dumb. In the last round of layoffs, the company has zero competitive advantage, has no secret sauce, no technology. Rex's home, this is number 2. Rex's homepage states the commission covers the buy and sell side commissions. Pop-ups say that REX does not pay buy side commissions. And under the buyer fact page, REX claims that the buyer pays the commission as it's built into the purchase price.
All right.
What would Rex like a final position on this matter? So basically, he's saying he's very confused that he's got 3 different messages on the website and in their buyer information, seller information.
And a lot of this guy's questions are, hey, it says this on your your Rex website, but what actually, and he's citing court documents and other postings as well. So it's interesting.
Yeah, he talks about how do you reconcile Rex's claims of changing the industry. Why do you deny consumer vital information when they're making the most critical purchase decisions of their life? They claim traditional realtors steer clients to properties with higher commissions. In a glaring display of hypocrisy, Rex fails to display non-Rex listings. We talked about that on the show.
Now, remember, they say they're going after Zillow because Zillow will not display, or we have to go under this special tab. But then they don't display our listings on their Zillow on their website.
Anyway, there's a whole bunch of questions, but it's on the American Genius. I don't know if this outfit is valid or not. I've never seen them. We just saw this ad. I think Ryan Bokros actually shared it with us. Yeah, he did. And it's a really interesting read. He's got great points, and it would be a stand-up job, in my opinion, if the CEO would actually take these points and then answer them.
I know. Answer all 13. And by the way, bring up number 12 again.
Okay.
Number 12 is really interesting.
I think the difficulty is that the CEO probably can't answer these things. Are you aware that complaints against REX Homes are filed or will be filed in the next week with the Federal Trade Commission, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, Securities and Exchange Commission, and state level real estate and consumer protection agencies and markets you operate in?
And then it says, now you know.
Now you know. Anyway, they call the NAR, the National Association of Realtors, which is us, a cartel, despite a recent court ruling which stated the courts discourages any future use of the term cartel to describe defendants, who are us. And the footnote states.
And then did you look to see how he signed the article?
Oh, I didn't.
He adds on cartel at the end as a little bit of final shade.
Yeah, he's
Las Vegas Realtor Cartel.
Yeah, Las Vegas Realtor Cartel. That's
Anthony
funny.
Phillips. Yeah. So
obviously he's on the real estate agent side, but he's got some great points. So if you know, if I don't even think Rex is in our market. But again, I just wanted to bring it up because it's an interesting piece of information that if you find yourself going against them, maybe just send them this article. Say, and be sure you ask these questions.
Well, and he does say, he mentioned, I don't think we mentioned it here, but he says, because they are in LA and they have currently 15, as of the story, which was 2 days ago, 15 active listings, but they're quote unquote changing the market landscape, right? So he has, what's number 5?
I got to bring it back up. Hang on. I'll bring that one back up.
It's interesting. And he does kind of go a little bit, at these guys, but all of his questions are really great. And I think they should be discussed by the CEO and co-founder, Jack Ryan.
Especially since they're throwing shade on us all day.
Yep.
Number 5, Rex claims that traditional realtors steer clients to properties with higher commissions. In a glaring display of hypocrisy, Rex failed to display
There you
non-Rex listings and will only represent buyers with non-Rex
So good.
listings when Rex is enriched.
I think that's the definite. There you go. He says this is the exact definition of steering, and I would say the exact definition of hypocrisy.
Yeah, that's good.
So what do you got, Jack Ryan?
Thanks, Ryan.
Let's go.
Thanks, Ryan Bocaros, for sharing that with us.
This is Maggie commenting on Ryan's account.
Maggie.
Yeah. So thank you, Maggie.
It's probably always been Maggie, but Ryan
Right?
didn't want to know.
She's the genius behind the Bocaros Foundation.
Yeah. If you've never seen Ryan, just think Dale Earnhardt Jr.
He probably
He does, man. I would live it up if I was him. I mean, I'd be
100%.
making listing videos about it. Yeah. Anyway. All right. Well, that's all we got for today. That was good. Concise, quick, a good way to start the new This Week in Real Estate show hosted by Bearded Men Real Estate.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say the whole thing every time, but I think it's appropriate today.
Just tWiRE, but 160 something episodes as the Bearded Men of Real Estate. And we were never concise. We always went way over.
Not
This
now.
was perfect.
Except for now. Wait, there's a hand raised.
No, that's not. Look at the
don't know
name.
who that
That's
is.
not anyone at all ever.
Yude Shah. Yeah, if you have your hand raised, you got to have a full bio filled out and all that kind of stuff. So I could check
And
you out.
if your name has .com in it, I'm going to guess that either it's not legit or Elon Musk is your parent.
Look, we're the only 2 left on stage. So thanks everybody for contributing.
Thank you.
We'd appreciate if you'd add us to the calendar, but next week, I don't know if we're gonna have a show next week or not. I will be on vacation, so I haven't had a vacation. Well, I went to Disney, but that was a working vacation, obviously, because if you're at Disney, you're working. But we'll try to do a shortened version of the show or something like that. It may be a little bit low tech, but I think we can pull that off. So we'll do that next week. Be looking for it, and also we will try to revive the show prep show. We didn't do it this week because Melissa Mars says stop going away, guys. Oh,
I know.
well,
Stop taking time for yourself and your family, Ray. That's ridiculous.
No. Guest host? Yeah, maybe we could do a guest host.
So I do want here. We do, but here's the thing, though. I have my own little production stuff I do, but it's not as much as Ray does. Now, if we still had Matt, poor Matt, rip Matt, but to have a co-host is a little more difficult when Ray's not around.
Yeah, that is true because I'm running it from this side and it has to use the logins and everything to go live.
Yeah, and we would also miss his amazingly dulcet tones. We got to have him.
Right. That's right. Well, if I'm broadcasting from the beach house, it's not going to be dulcet tones anyway. It'll be like
Right.
Yeah, we'll try to do something. I do want to do some guest hosting anyway. I've talked to several people, and so they're interested. So I think as the show name changes, catch on, and all that kind of stuff, we'll be adding more and more people to the show to do some guest hosting opportunities there too. So thanks everybody for joining us. Dan, cheers, happy birthday. Y'all go find him at D Ludwig Rocks. That's DLUDWIGROCKS.
Yep.
And you can find me at Instagram at Ray Zorback, RAYZORBACK. And everywhere good Razorbacks are sold.
Thank you. Cheers, everyone. Love you guys. Thank you.
Happy birthday, Dan. Bye, everybody.